Stop sharing my screen and welcome Sreekanth Reddy, product manager at Adobe. Senior product manager at Adobe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all good, all good. Thank you, Jack. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I'm really excited to be in the call. Um, I've been part of Dynamic Chat journey right from its idea phase, and from last 3 years, I've been working on this. Um, and I'm some of you, if you have already kind of connected with me, nice to meet you again. And for people who are meeting for the first time, again, very nice to meet you. I would love to continue to stay in touch even after this session. I'm pretty much very active in all our community groups where I'm talking about dynamic chat. We have done several webinars, enablement programs for dynamic chat, and I've been doing this even mug sessions for different regions whenever possible. Recently, we haven't done a mug session for dynamic chat too. And thank you so much for being active throughout these mug sessions. And even this session, I would love all of you to participate and actively unmute yourself, ask any questions. Would love to understand what is making sense, what's not making sense. What I plan to do is I'll walk you through a demo of the capability that would like to talk about, which is Marketer Forms is something, a capability that is being heavily used by all Marketer customers throughout the years. And we thought, hey, how can we extend the forms capability to drive more engagement right when the visitor is engaged with your brand, with your website? Um, Now, keeping that as a core thought process, dynamic chat has been built outside Marketo where you can drive conversations through chatbot. But what we realize, the conversation automation is not just about having a chatbot on a website, but it's basically an extension of every channel KPI that you would like to drive. That means when you're doing a marketing email campaign, for example, if you're sending an email to a bunch of users, now, the objective is to not just send the email, I believe, right? You want them to open the email, click on that link, CTA buttons, and then land on a page. And on that page is where your KPI is actually achieved. Now, that KPI could be watching a video or going through a content, downloading a document, filling a form, registering for an event. Of any of those or more, such KPIs are achieved in your landing page, be the visitor coming from an email campaign, social campaign, paid ads, organic traffic, irrespective of how the channels across channels, what you're trying to do is drive the right users to the respective landing pages and ensure that you enable them to engage with your content or take that action that you intend them to take. So keeping that, I mean, if I think all of us agree with that piece, I hope. And if that's the case, then how can a conversation automation, if it is natively integrated into all of these channels, can help you drive that respective KPI that you're already trying to drive with your native channels further with a conversational engagement? So having that as a thought process, we have have dynamic chat has been already launched and it's already available for all Marketer customers. There's an included version and there's a paid version, and the included version is available for all Marketer customers, and it is provisioned already to all Marketer customers. All Marketer admins should be having access. And like Jack mentioned, Marketo is transitioning towards admin console for user management. Dynamic chat is already accessed through admin console. The user management can happen there. The users of dynamic chat are independent of users of Marketo. That's why we have seen some struggle into accessing dynamic chat, but hopefully most of you already able to. Just for my knowledge, I'm just curious, how many of you even tried dynamic chat lately, at least once? If you can raise your hand or share something on the chat or unmute yourself and speak. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, Peter
At
tried.
this company, we use Dynamic Chat for one of our conferences. We branded a brand new
Great.
conference. Dynamic Chat was really
Yeah,
great with being able to pinpoint exactly, like, if you
got
scroll
it.
far down,
Yeah,
there's a new dialogue that pops up. So, like, goes
yeah,
in the depth that you just couldn't do with the web page, which
yeah.
was really innovative.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. We would like to see how it compares with Drift. Great questions. It's currently still active. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing it. So then most of you have seen the demo of our website, the chatbot engagement. I would like to first cover the basics of the dynamic chat and then go double click into step by step of how you can extend the form capabilities in Marketo. Then I would love to take any of your questions, like how it is comparing with other solutions or any other capability solution questions that you have. Okay. So with that, I would love to take the screen share. I hope I will be able to do it right. Um, Let me go ahead and try it out. Then, okay. Able to see my screen?
We can
Yeah.
see the Marketo demo page right now.
Okay. Awesome. So quickly, I'll highlight about the chat engagements. So whenever a visitor lands on a page, my dynamic chat also uses the same Munchkin cookie of your Munchkin JS. So there's no separate tracking or separate lead profiles being created. It's all the same database, same lead profile, same cookie. If it is already known to dynamic chat and known to market or vice versa. So when a visitor lands on a page, take their cookie, identify who the person is. Based on who the person is, you can resolve a conversation that is designed for that audience. Right. When somebody engages with the chatbot, you can ask these predefined questions, which most of you already know. But what's interesting is once you, with the new Gen AI capabilities that we have launched, you can also enable your visitors to type in their own question and get instant responses. For example, here it can ask, hey, uh, tell me about key features of Marketo, and, and get instant responses. But the important part is not just getting the response, or provide them with the necessary links where they can click and reach to the respective page and understand more about it, right? Because the chat can only give a small response that might not be the full context, because this, we are talking about sales and marketing use cases, not really the support use case, right? So we would love to get them navigated to the respective pages of their interest and get them going and continue their engagement. And the chat is the best way, because even if they click on that link and went to that pages, this continue to follow the conversation, follow the visitor and continue the conversation. After every response, not just related links, you can also design your own nudge question, because the objective is, again, not just answering visitor questions, but also drive them towards the KPI that you are looking to drive. So here it could be meeting booking, it could be sharing a document, it could be capturing the lead information, qualifying the lead with by capturing more information about the company, job title, so on and so forth, or even doing a live chat conversation. So this way you can allow visitors to ask questions. Let's say let's ask what is a smart list, right, and get instant response, related links, and again it shows you the follow-up question that you have designed for it. At any point, it's not, you can also set how many times you can allow your visitors to continue to ask questions, because again, like I said, it's not, the objective is not just to answer the questions of your visitors, but also drive them towards the KPI that you're looking for. Let's say if I go ahead with connect with an agent, you can say, hey, Nick, it's asking me for my first name, the business email address. This way you can capture any information, and all this information that you're capturing will directly get saved against your lead profile in your marketer instance. Right? You click on it based on what you have uh, you know, provided, and you can create your own routing rules. And based on those routing rules, it will route you to the respective agent, and agent gets a browser notification. Once they get a notification, so click on it, they'll be able to see that respective conversation assigned to them. You can see here, once they accepted the conversation, they will land directly here once they click on that notification. What you've done, this probably most of you already know, this is a live chat. You can engage back and forth. You can say with your visitor, hey, right? This is pretty straightforward. Hi, so on and so forth. Um, but the cool things that we have added is, if it is a known lead, here you're seeing what has been the engagement that happened so far in the current session, or the but if it is already a known lead in your market instance, it will also highlight your past market 7 days marketing activities also here. That can give you more context to the agent. Further, rather than making the agent go through the transcript to understand what's happening, or what has happened so far. With the power of Gen AI, we nicely craft a summary in real time that can give a quick context to your agent. So now that they know what has happened so far, right, it also extracts the discussed topics. This is very important because these topics not just being highlighted to an agent, this gets even pushed into your marketer instance. Now you can say, hey, tell me anybody who has engaged in a conversation and talked about market engage, talked about smart list, talked about a certain topic. And you can get those list of audience because that is the direct intent, right? Explicitly people have asked about them. That's the explicit intent, which is more valuable for you to understand what they're looking for and then personalize their next marketing touch point for those topics for those audience. Um, like this, the visitor and agent can have a conversation. And then what if visitors ask some complicated questions like where does Marketo host data, right? And now as an agent, you can respond to these questions, or else you can even leverage the Gen AI to, with one click, get a question response nicely crafted that can be copied, make any changes, and then simply send it. So that way you can enable your sales representatives who are doing this conversation with your potential leads to quickly respond to visitor questions, and now they can easily navigate between multiple conversations too. We have also done introduce some Gen AI powered shortcuts that says you can even allow sales representative to generate a response in real time. Let's say what is AP. Now based on the knowledge that you provided to this model, it can generate a response in real time to the sales representative, which they can copy and send it. Further, if they think the conversation is going well, they can simply share their own calendar and say a visitor get an option to click on it, choose any date or time slot that suits best for them from that calendar. And this is an actual calendar of mine which I have connected. That's why you see less number of slots for this day, and hit confirm to book a meeting. And just like that, a meeting gets booked between the visitor and the sales representative, right? And the sales representative gets a meeting request, meeting email with the summary, and so on and so forth. And the cool part is all of this information is captured directly into your market instance with the native set of activities that are present. So if you want to do any kind of retargeting, you can leverage these native filters and triggers that will be part of your smart list and design any of your further campaigns. Here you can see the native triggers and filters. Um, like as mentioned here, you can drag and say anybody who's engaged with the dialogue and discussed about a certain topic but did not schedule a meeting, send them an email. You can do that. Probably most of you have seen all of this, but let me show you what further you can do with this. Um, as you know, if there are native triggers and filters, you can also leverage them as tokens, trigger tokens, right? So you can create flow steps, which you can create interesting moments, leverage these tokens that says, hey, well, when was the meeting scheduled for, with whom it was scheduled, what is the summary of the conversation, add it to your interesting moments, add it to your sales task, add it to your sales emails, and give more context to your sales representatives based on what the conversation has happened. Right? Further, as you send an email, right, to your sales representative, imagine you have sent an email something of this sort. You can enable this. You can even tag the CTA button on an email when somebody clicks on it and lands on a page. Not just you identify the visitor who's the person is. You can also, based on the persona, you can trigger conversations or conversational engagement embedded into the website too. You have so far we have seen in the chatbot. Now you're seeing that same interface even embedded inside the landing page. You can do this even by triggering through a CTF clicks, which I will show you in just a minute. So I'm just highlighting. So if you have an email campaign, you can link that CTA button. When somebody click on it and lands on a page, you can trigger these conversations, which you're calling it as a conversational flows um, through inline, pop-up, or chatbot. Not just that, if you have any forms that are present in your market instance, and if somebody fills that form, um, uma.com, Uma marketing manager. So if you sent an email or somebody visited your website and trying to fill a form, it could be a contact us form, gated content or in website webinar registration, any form of your kind that you have created in your Marketo instance, and somebody fills a form based on who the person and what they filled in the form, you can trigger different flows. I'm showing you one of your flow here, which is a form which is of a gated content, and it says, awesome, the document is on your way to the inbox. It's asking, would you like to schedule a demo? Then click next. If I click next, you can also ask any qualification questions of your choice further than what you have already captured in the form. And hit next. You can even allow them to book a meeting. You can allow them to trigger live chat conversation with an agent. You can even capture further more information that you would like to save inside the respective lead profile. All of this engagement again gets captured back into your Marketo instance, which you can again leverage as part of your native triggers and filters. Right now comes to the configuration part. If you go to any form in your Marketo instance, this is where we are calling them as conversational forms. So here is one of the form in where you have the bunch of fields. Any of the fields that you add, go to form settings. Inside settings, we have added a new toggle called conversational flow settings. If you enable it, you'll get an option to create choices and design rules saying that in this form, when somebody filling a field called job title with a value of CMO, then trigger a different flow. These are all the flows that you have created in Dynamic Chat. I'll also show you how you can design these flows. And but here you can leverage the field that you're using and create a condition, trigger the respective flows for them. You can create multiple choices. You can also leverage that if somebody is filling the form, if they're already part of a smart list, imagine you have created a suspended smart list of people, marketing suspended, or people who already have an open opportunity, or people who are just qualified or haven't qualified anything, right? Any kind of smart list or a static list that you create in your market instance, and somebody who's filling the form is already a member of them, then you can trigger a different flow, right? You can add multiple choices, and then you can also set a default choice. This enables this a dynamic conversation to be triggered based on who the person is and what they're filling in the form, right? And all that engagement again flows back into your Marketer instance. Against that lead profile will be added, and the values will be added against the lead profile, and all the activities get logged against the activity log, which again you can leverage by in the smart list for creating any campaigns, doing any kind of lead scoring, anything of that sort, uh, um, to further personalize the next touch points for the lead. Before I show you how you design the conversation flow, any questions, comments that anybody would like to share? Have anybody, all of you have seen this? Is there anything new that you're saying here?
Hey, Sreekanth, this is Peter.
Hi.
Thank you for all the information. And not to deviate, can you just summarize what the progressive profiling feature does, just so I can compartmentalize that separately from conversational flows?
Sure. Progressive profiling is basically if you have a long form, right? Let's say 10 fields that you would like to capture for any kind of lead generation or qualification, rather than showing all the 10 fields in the one shot, what it does is if the visitor comes for the first time, they fill the form, and when it's the second, and show only 4 fields, and when they come the second time, it shows the rest of the fields that have been being captured in the first time, so that the second time the forms fields are a little different than the first one, and you progressively capturing information that you need to lead creation or lead qualification. Does that make sense?
It does. I was just trying to distinguish the use of the functionality from the visibility rules. So I understand the visibility rules. If you select something, show it. But then
Yeah,
as
that's a
far as
visibility rules.
time,
Here
yeah.
it does is a little different. Let's say if you have like this like 5 fields, 6 fields, right? You don't want to show all 6 fields in the first time form filling. You make these 2 fields as progressive profiling. Then it shows the first 4 and one of the field from the progressive profiling for the first time when somebody filling a form. And second time when they're trying to fill a form, it will show phone number rather than the job title, right?
Yeah, I
That
apologize. I don't want to take too much
uh,
time. I just will leave my question at if I enable progressive profiling, where do I go to configure rules thereafter?
here is the progressive profiling. You can enable it. Once you
Yeah.
enable it, this creates this box like this, and you can simply drag and drop what are the fields that you want to make it as progressive profiling. Does
And
that make sense?
okay. And so as long as the fields outside that box are filled entirely, then this will show on a return visit.
Yeah, the rest of the stuff will continue to pick up from this progressive profiling.
I appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Any questions, comments on the conversational forms? Is this making sense? Is this even an important use case for you? I'm not able to see the chat, Jack, in case if there are any questions in the chat.
I don't see any questions from the group. I had a question about going back to Gen AI. That is
Sure.
only available for Dynamic Chat Prime.
Prime, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I wanted to reiterate that.
For sure. Yeah.
What happens if you change your delivery type on the conversation?
Yeah. So right now it's only pop-up. What we are also introducing is a chatbot too. That means when somebody filled a form, when they hit submit, the pop-up came in, right? Rather than the pop-up, if you want to trigger it in a chatbot UI, even that can be possible.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. How you design these flows? Once you log into Dynamic Chat, so once you log into experience.adobe.com, you'll be landed like this. If you don't see Dynamic Chat, do ensure you go to your admin console and add yourself as a user. If you don't see admin console, then you're not the admin for this IMS org. Ensure you contact your admin to make you add user. How they can do it, they have to go to their admin console. Once you go to the admin console, they will see something of the sort. They will be able to see all Adobe products listed here. You'll be seeing dynamic chat. Inside dynamic chat, if you have multiple instances, you will see multiple instances where you can click and choose one of the instance. Here I have only one instance. The instance name is this. Um, you'll be seeing different product profiles, which is very similar to what you have roles in Marketo instance. This is very same. You can create your own product profile. You can add multiple users. You can set different permissions. All kinds of permissions are available. You have to ensure that you are added to one of these product profile for you to have access to dynamic chat. Once you have it, log in, then you'll be able to go to dynamic chat or tile. Once you click on it, you land on this page. What most important items are dialogues and conversational flows. Dialogues is where more you leverage targeting. That means anybody who's coming to your website to specific pages, which you can set targeting here. You can leverage any of your lead and company attributes, both native and custom attributes of your Marketo instance. Same schema, no new schema, right? And you'll use even member of smart list, uh, whatever the smart list that you have in your Marketo instance. Come here, design your own audience. So you defined where it is needs to be triggered, whom it needs to be triggered, and then a simple drag and drop canvas that with different kinds of cards will be available for you to design your conversation and publish it. This ensures whoever visitor coming to those landing pages that you have designed here, if they belong to this audience criteria, then this conversation will be shown to them. We have recently launched some cool things called conditional branching and the conversational flow too. I'll come to this once I cover the other stuff. So you can simply drag and drop and create these flows. So dialogues, once you install the chatbot snippet on your website, anybody who is visiting, first it resolves the targeting criteria. Based on the targeting criteria, it resolves the dialogue. You can create multiple dialogues, set their priority, and based on the priority, it will be shown to them. What the second concept that we introduced is called conversational flows, which is very similar to dialogues, but this doesn't have any targeting. It is majorly triggered. Dialogue is more targeting. Conversational flow is more triggering. That means anybody who came on a website, filled a form, then if they filled a form, if you want to trigger this flow, you trigger it. The condition is set at a form level. If you have anybody who's coming to a landing page, clicks on a button, where let me show you an example. So if I have a Marketo landing page like this, where I have a CTA button called book a meeting, if they click on it, anybody who's clicking on that CTA button, you'll be able to trigger a flow, right? And installing is super simple. Once you go into your dynamic chat and go to conversation flow, create a new, it also has templates. If you go to conversational flows, click on create conversation flow. Once you click on it, you will have a canvas, which is simple drag and drop. Leverage all these cards to create them, create the flow of your choice. Once you're done with it, good, you have to publish your changes. And in the settings, there's a simple hash that you can copy. If you just simply copy this and add it to your landing page CTA button, it can be Marketo landing page or even the landing page is outside Marketo. It works the same. All you need to ensure is install the chatbot snippet and then use this hash and link it to any of your CTA buttons. And if somebody clicks on it, you'll be able to trigger those respective flows to them. Okay. It also supports triggering through different UI types and on different events on page or on click of a specific component in your landing page. I hope the differences are clear. So conversation flow is just a stream of cards that you would like to trigger when somebody is taking an action. We extended this recently to even say that you can create a conversation flow, and if you have any dialogue, you can simply repurpose the whole flow here. At any point, you would like to say, oh, at this point, the conversation is very similar to what I have created in conversational flow. I can simply drag and drop a flow card, add it anywhere. Let's say I'm adding it here. I can select any of the flow that I've already created and published and simply give it a name, webinar, and hit save. So this basically makes it reusable. You don't have to create the same flow multiple times and repurpose the same flow multiple times in the same dialogue or across dialogues. And if you update it one place, it gets automatically updated everywhere else. So these are the conversational flows. What you have created here can be repurposed in dialogues, can also be used in your forms. This list of flows are the same flows that you created in Dynamic Chat. Any questions, comments?
Sreekanth, I have another quick
Hey.
one, unless anyone else has one. I want to give the floor an opportunity. So, Sreekanth, for info capture compared to the question experience and selecting a message bubble, is there anything on the roadmap that instead of having the picker option for info capture, you have something like 3 bubbles pop up that a user can click one on?
For info capture?
Correct.
Yeah, why do you want that way? You can do that in question, right? You don't want to do that in question card?
Okay, can you map? Okay, I'm sorry, excuse me. You can map that response to an attribute. Perfect. See, Dynamic Chat has no holes in it. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Anybody else? Any questions? So first, I would love to understand here from you guys, is this use case of extending forms, is it a powerful use case or not? Is it something that you would love to use? Is this making sense?
I think it's a pretty powerful use case for sure. It excited me when I read your blog post on Marketing Nation about it. I'll be sure to tag that if anyone wants to read that. It's a great article. There was a post that I was looking at in Marketing Nation, and I was curious if you had any thoughts on it, if you had seen it. But a lot of, I mean, in my instance too, like we use a lot of global forms where we are reusing the same forms over and over again. The same form, embed code in the same one. So when you turn on conversational flow, what if I wanted? Is there any plans on the roadmap to maybe target it based on URLs? So if the form's on this URL, have the conversational flow step in, because I might not want the same conversational flow to trigger, even though they're the same form on different parts of my site.
Sounds good. Yeah. Then rather than you configure the form, the conditions that I showed you, you can create the conversational flow separately, use that hash, and install that hash based on your URLs.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
So in different URLs, you want to use different flows. That's as simple as that.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. I would really appreciate any feedback you think. And thank you so much for anybody, Tony, for sharing your feedback. We'd love to understand how we can improve this product. Is this an important use case or no? Should we invest in some other ways, right? Anything that you guys are the champions, you're the ones who are most close to most of the real world implementations. So any of comments are welcome. Maybe if not here, I'm available over email too. Pretty active in the community too. Anytime you share anything, happy to take it. Email is dynamicchat@adobe.com. It's that simple as that. So uh, anytime you can reach out to any help regarding dynamic chat. So love to take any questions.
Sreekanth, one more question from me. It's a little hypothetical,
Yeah,
so
sure.
if it's not clear enough, I understand. But so let's say for my company's website, there's a lead form that has 3 fields, and it's a milestone, right? It's a conversion if we get all 3 fields answered. And then compared to another experience of, let's say, dynamic chat, where instead of we just ask question 1, question 2, question 3 to mimic the form, right? And you can put goals.
Yeah.
Like a goal for the first response, goal for the second response, goal for the third response. But really, we want a collective look into how many people both filled out all 3 form fields from our website, as well as how many people got to the third question in the dynamic chat experience. How would we link or classify both of those milestones, given that one is a form on a web page and the other is 3 questions in a dynamic chat? Like, how can we say person 1 did all 3 via the form and person 2 did all 3 via the dynamic chat? That's 2 people we want in our sample size right there. How do we tie those 2 together?
So if you create a smart list that with a condition that says somebody who filled the form, it means somebody filled the form, that's when you are considering that they have given all the 3 fields filled in that form, right? So somebody who filled the form and achieved that third goal that you have set.
Okay.
That basically means that person has done both, right?
That makes sense. And I'm kind of thinking in terms of using dynamics, not to go too far beyond, but I'm sure there's.
In fact, in dynamic chat, you have an option to skip asking if it is already asked, if it is already known, right? That way, you don't have to ask the same information to the visitor, which they have probably shared through an email or through form or any other ways. If that information is already present against that lead profile, then you can skip asking that questions and asking that information in dynamic chat.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah. I have personally has worked with several customers now in the last 8-12 months, helping them with a lot of implementations. I got great understanding about the way customers are looking at use cases, how they can optimize their engagement, how can we leverage fully the Gen AI capability. Anybody of you ever interested, love to have a chat with you guys about those. I even wrote a blog about best practices about dynamic chat, sharing some of my learnings from these implementations that I have done for customers. I can share that link too here. If you'd like that, go through it, add your comments. Happy to engage further.
Thank you. I'll be sure to include this in the follow-up email as well to the chapter.
Yeah. We have done several tutorials also, in case anybody that helps. We personally did short videos where it walks you through the step-by-step of how implementing several use cases. That also can be leveraged. So coming back to the question one of you have asked, how dynamic chat is different from any other point solutions. Functionality wise, probably you would see a lot of similarities, overlaps. The real power is leveraging this information natively into your Marketo instance, and having this just one vendor to manage your tools, right, is the advantage. Functionality wise, of course, the other solutions might be putting like some 300, 400 people just implementing the solutions and adding more and more features. Probably feature wise, there can be more feature rich capabilities out there. The real power is how can we have that integrated experience that you can deliver to your visitors and also leverage that integrated knowledge and insights into your Marketo instance. That is the real power. And more closer the integration is, like I've just shown you the forms that you can trigger right here itself and manage everything from here, is what simplifies your implementation, improves your productivity, increase your insights about your visitors, your leads, and then improve your marketing touch points um, across channels. So it's like asking if you have Marketo forms, how is the Marketo forms different from any forms out there, a form provider? Of course, every form provider will give you forms, building a form, setting rules, validations, and everything. But the value is, if you use Marketo forms, all the tracking, the information captured, and engagement is in one place that you can leverage further to do any kind of operational campaigns or marketing campaigns inside Marketo. I hope that makes sense. And it's also quite competitive in terms of pricing, Dynamic Chat, because we want to ensure all our Marketo customers take the advantage of all the channels possible. That's why even interactive webinars, you see there's a free version that is included, and it's also enabled for all Marketo instances right now. That should take care of your webinar needs for majority of use cases. It also will bring up several enhancements even in interactive webinars, more to be announced very soon. Some of it was announced at the summit too. Yeah, so bring more and more channels, improve the existing channels to ensure we leverage AI, we leverage existing power that's already present in Marketo to unlock more productivity and creativity for you.
Hey, Sreekanth, thank you. I got one more question here. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Peter. You are the most. I love you most in these
I
sessions.
appreciate you, man. I'm probably going to reach out at a future time, but real quick, so I submitted a dynamic chat as one person, and then I, as another person, submitted a lead form on my company's website. Why is the person source for dynamic chat, person source is recorded as dynamic chat, but for the second person, that's original source type as web form fill out? Why are those a different keys?
If they have the lead is being created before the merge, the independent leads have got created and then later got merged, then it will have one lead source. But if it is you have filled the form, you have filled your information through chat, it first creates two different leads and then later merge based on the email address. When they're creating two different leads, it adds that sources as wherever the source came from. Does that make sense?
I'll run it through another test, but just to put my question differently, whether I filled out a form or whether I submitted something through dynamic chat, shouldn't that be stored in the same key of person, so whether it's person source or whether it's original source type? Like, why are there different keys?
Yeah, we actually update person source and recently also added original source, which I think it's only read-only attribute for you, right? You cannot update. The person source is something you can update. The reason why we did that is we heard from some customers who were using this read-only attributes for targeting and their follow-up campaigns, which have already set it up. Just wanted to include the chat as another key. And some customers who are using person source as the attribute. So we thought, let's update both. The read-only one anyway has to be updated because the source is chat. But the person source, we are also updating just to ensure that whoever has already built in existing flows that are leveraging person source as a field, it doesn't break. They can simply enhance that campaigns and take care of it. That's objective, but primarily it should be all same key. It's an additional key that we are updating.
So in the future, we can expect person source to be beyond dynamic chat, have more options beyond dynamic chat?
Ideally, all channels will update this read-only attribute, not the person source. But do you think we should do that?
No, I understand you were accommodating existing users. So, I mean, it's all good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. More exciting stuff are coming with Dynamic Chat. We almost launch every month with new stuff. We recently launched this reusable flows. We also launched another enhancement that if somebody provides an email in chat, in real time, we try to resolve that lead from your Marketo instance and find out if there is an existing profile with this email address. Any other further personalization can happen directly from there. And more enhancements coming up. Stay tuned to the release notes. Tutorials. I also write blogs. So looking forward. And I would really appreciate any help, any feedback from any of you. I'm all ears. Would love to partner with any of you.
Hey, Sreekanth, going back to that conversational flow branching with your dialogues, is that as seamless as like it just takes that conversational flow and puts it into the web chat, or does that pop
Yeah.
up in a new window?
No. It's
Oh,
seamless in this. Just continues the conversation.
awesome. Love that.
Yeah.
Great.
So we have. I mean, we always run some of the alpha or beta. Always, it's even now. Currently, there's an alpha running for GenAI, the next phase of functionalities. So a lot of dynamic chat capabilities are built based on customer feedback. A lot of it, probably very less of what my roadmap is and more of what customers' feedback is. So we have taken care of a lot of things that we have learned from customers, and would love to continue to do that.
Awesome. Is there any other questions? All right. Thanks again, Sreekanth. This has been an awesome presentation, and I love the participation from the group. This has been awesome. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me again. I will send a follow-up email with all of the information covered today, all the blog posts. So keep an eye out for that. But thanks again, everyone, for joining.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Looking forward to talk to you again.
Thank you.
Bye.